Hi, I'm James, and today we're taking a look at another trio of Phobya products sent to us by Aquatuning UK. Today on the test bench we have the Phobya Touch 6 fan controller, their Bionic Loop 120mm fan, and their PWM 8x4-pin splitter. So we're going to get started by taking a look at the fan controller first, and then looking at the fan and splitter they've sent as well. So first of all, we're taking a look at the fan controller. So in the box we have a little instruction manual, a selection of cables. Here we have the little thermal sensor leads, then the connectors for the various fan headers, power for the unit itself, screws, and in here the actual fan controller. It's quite hefty. We have this brushed metal front to it. Then behind here we have the LCD display. The rest of the unit is plastic. Feels quite well made. We can see here we have the fan headers for connecting 6 fans to it, and also the power connector down here, and we'll take a look at what some of these other ports are in a moment. So now we have the fan controller set up on our test bench. We have a single fan and a single temperature sensor plugged in just for testing and rigged up to a power supply here on the bench. So what we can do is we switch it on with the button here. We can press the unlock button and then go into the fan here. We currently have this on auto. We can switch it over again, unlock button, switch it over to manual. We can then, by touching the edges of this, we can adjust down the fan speed, and we can see the RPM reading here is changing as we lower that. The lowest setting here is 40%, which is 600 RPM. We can then pull this back up to 100%. This is quite a quiet fan, well, in fact a very quiet fan anyway, but we can see that's now gone up to about 900 RPM. We can also see the related temperature sensor reading up to 1000 RPM now. And we can cycle through the various fans. These aren't plugged in, so they're all showing as stationary and no temperature sensor reading at the moment, but we can cycle through those. We can switch this one to auto, and it will, because the temperature relating to it is low, it will pull the fan speed down. So you can see at the moment this is now 40%. Now to test the fan automatic speed control, I have here a mug of boiling water. So by taking the temperature sensor and dipping this into the water, we will see the alarm is now sounding as this is very hot, and this has immediately increased the fan speed to 100%. By removing that now, the temperature comes down, and as it falls, and then we put it back in, so we can see very quickly we get an audible alarm of the temperature increasing, and we also get a reaction in the fan speed. At just under £35, and for the level of functionality and lack of customization in it, it's perhaps a little hard to justify, particularly now with motherboards having a lot of sort of good fan control. The touchscreen on it is a little fiddly. I'm also not particularly keen on the fact that, you know, you have these black blocks in it. It perhaps for the price could look a little better in that regard. So it does what it promises, but perhaps for more power users, you know, these aren't the early days of overclocking and fan controllers. You might want a few more features. Turning our attention now to the fan provided, and this is a Phobya MBE Loop 1000 RPM, also called the Bionic Loop. It's called this because of this ring it has running around the outside of the fan blades, so these mean you get less vibration from the fan blades. So as they spin, the plastic remains sort of more rigid, so you get less noise from them. As well as the loop, the fan blades also have these vortices on the edges to help reduce noise from the airflow. The fan actually extends a little outside the normal 120mm fan size, so if you're needing to line up a couple of these on a radiator, they might not be suitable. You may need something that more strictly meets the 120mm sizing. But you also have, when you're mounting, when you put these on, you have these little rubber edges which help isolate vibration and again should hopefully reduce noise. The fan isn't a PWM type fan, it's only 3-pin, so you don't get the support for some motherboards which may require the PWM modulation to control the fan speed, but that obviously doesn't affect every board. But yeah, it seems a nicely built fan. I'm not in the quietest environment here, but noise levels seem pretty good. It would certainly be interesting if we had a very, very quiet setup to see how this affects it and how it compares to some of the other on the market. Unfortunately, I don't have a huge range of them, but hopefully in future I might get to look at some and see how they compare. So the final item we're looking at here is the Phobya PWM 8x4-pin splitter. There's really not a lot to say about this product. I mean, it's basically a little adapter for if you want to plug in multiple fans. We have a power lead here, Molex lead, and then we can connect up to 8 fans to this. There are little screw mounts or an adhesive pad on the back for fixing it in the case. So if you simply need to plug in a large number of 4-pin PWM fans or 3-pin fans, you can use this rather than a lot of Molex adapters to just give you a single source to run all of these fans from. Obviously you can vary the input voltage onto it and that will affect the speed of all of the fans, but beyond that there's no finer grain fan control. So it's literally a splitter. At £6 it's not overly expensive, so if you have a lot of fans, you don't need any control over their speed, you just want to run them all simultaneously, worth taking a look at. Not a lot more to say on this. I hope you found this video useful, and be sure to check out more of what we do. We have some other product reviews and various other features. Thanks for watching.